Jihoon's hand froze midair, the champagne glass trembling between his fingers. Across the ballroom, through the swirling crowd of Seoul's elite, he saw her. Ijeoma. 10 years dissolved in an instant. The orchestra's melody faded into white noise. The cameras flashing around him became distant stars. She stood near the auction display, her back to him, wearing a midnight blue dress that caught the light like water. Her hair was different, longer, twisted into an elegant updo, but he would recognize the curve of her shoulders anywhere, the way she tilted her head when listening intently. Then she turned. Their eyes met across 30 feet of marble floor and a decade of silence. Her face went pale. The small boy beside her, maybe 8 or 9 years old, tugged at her hand, saying something Jihoon couldn't hear. But he wasn't looking at the boy yet. He was drowning in the recognition on Ijeoma's face, the flash of fear that crossed it before she schooled her features into careful neutrality. Mr. Kong. His assistant touched his elbow. The press is waiting for your statement about the foundation. Jihoon couldn't move. Ijeoma had already turned away, gathering the boy, her son, clearly, and moving toward the exit with purposeful strides. Not running. She would never run. But leaving, unmistakably leaving. Cancel it, Jihoon said, thrusting his glass at his assistant. Cancel everything. He was moving before he could think, cutting through clusters of guests who tried to catch his attention. Seoul's most eligible CEO didn't usually chase women through charity galas, and he could feel the whispers starting, the cameras turning. He didn't care. She was almost at the door. Ijeoma. She stopped. Her shoulders tensed like she'd been struck. The boy looked up at her, confused, then back at Jihoon approaching them. And that's when Jihoon saw it. The boy had his eyes. Not just the shape, though yes, the distinctive almond shape that characterized the Kong family, but the exact shade of dark brown, almost black, with that unusual amber ring around the iris. His mother used to say those eyes could see through lies. Now they stared at him from a child's face, wide with curiosity and a hint of fear. Jihoon's world tilted. "We need to talk," he said when he reached them, his voice emerging rougher than intended.
Now.
Ijeoma's jaw tightened. "I don't think." "Don't." The word came out sharp. "Don't you dare tell me we have nothing to discuss." She glanced at the boy, then back at Jihoon, and he saw something flash in her eyes, defiance mixed with an old, deep hurt that made his chest ache.
Fine.
But not here. She looked down at the child. "Kairo, baby, can you wait with Aunt Minji for a few minutes?" Kairo. The name meant rejoice in Swahili. Jihoon knew because Ijeoma had once told him that names carried power, that they shaped destiny. A woman materialized from the crowd, small, efficient, with kind eyes, and took Kairo's hand. The boy went reluctantly, looking back at his mother every few steps. "My office," Jihoon said. "It's private." She nodded once, and he led her through a service corridor, away from the gala's glittering chaos. They didn't speak as they walked, but the silence between them was loud with everything unsaid. His office occupied the top floor of the adjacent building, connected by an enclosed sky bridge. Through the glass walls, souls spread out beneath them, a constellation of lights that once held the entire world they'd built together. The moment the office door closed, Ijeoma turned on him. "What do you want from me, Jihoon?" "What do I want?" He almost laughed, but the sound died in his throat. "You disappeared. 10 years ago, you vanished like you'd never existed. No call, no note, nothing. And now you show up with a son who," his voice cracked. He steadied it. "Is he mine? Does it matter?" Her voice was cold, but her hands shook as she clasped them together. "Does it?" Jihoon stepped closer, anger and something like desperation warring in his chest. "How can you even ask me that?" "Because you have no right." She met his advance with her own step forward, chin lifted. "You have no right to demand anything from me after what happened." "After what happened? You're the one who left. You told me to." The words exploded out of her, raw and ragged. Then softer, breaking, "You told me to disappear, Jihoon. You said I was ruining everything." He stared at her, genuine confusion replacing his anger.
What are you talking about?
I would never say that to you. She laughed, but it was a bitter sound. So, now you're gaslighting me? That's your strategy. I'm not. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration mounting. Ijeoma, I remember our last fight. I remember saying things I shouldn't have, being cruel, because I was scared of how much I needed you. But I never told you to leave. I woke up the next morning ready to apologize, to beg if I had to, and you were just gone. Your apartment empty. Your phone disconnected. It was like you'd been erased. She studied his face, and he saw doubt flicker across hers. That's not how it happened. Then tell me how it happened. Please. He softened his voice, letting her see his confusion, his pain. Tell me what you remember. For a long moment, she just looked at him. Then she moved to the window, hugging herself as she stared out at the city. When she spoke, her voice was distant, like she was narrating someone else's story. We fought. You're right about that. It was about your mother, about the engagement announcement she'd leaked to the press. You and Min Hee-seo, the perfect match. She glanced back at him. Remember her?
He did. Barely.
His mother's choice, a business arrangement disguised as romance. He'd refused it. He remembered refusing it. I told her no, he said. I told her I wouldn't marry anyone but you. Maybe you did. But that night, after our fight, I went home. Someone followed me. Her voice dropped. I thought I was being paranoid at first. But then there were phone calls, no one speaking, just breathing. Photos slipped under my door. Me leaving your apartment. Us at that little restaurant in Hongdae. And then, she paused, swallowing hard. Then there was a note. It said if I didn't leave Seoul, didn't leave Korea entirely, they would destroy my family. My mother's business back home. My younger brother's scholarship. Everything. Jihoon's blood ran cold.
Who?
Who threatened you? I didn't know for sure. But the next day, you called me. Her eyes, when they met his, were full of old pain. You said we needed to end this. That you'd been foolish, thinking we could work. That I was too different, that your family would never accept it, and you were tired of fighting. You said, her voice broke. You said you'd already wired money to my account. Enough to make a new start somewhere else.
No.
The word came out hoarse. No, I never. Ijeoma, I swear to you, I never said any of those things. I don't even remember that phone call. Well, I do. She turned back to the window. I remember every word. He moved closer, stopping just behind her. Close enough to see her reflection in the glass, the unshed tears she was fighting. Something's wrong. Something doesn't add up here. Everything adds up perfectly, Jihoon. Your mother wanted me gone. You made the call. I left. But I don't remember making it. He touched her shoulder, and she flinched, but didn't pull away. Don't you think that's strange? She was quiet for a moment. What are you saying? I'm saying... He paused, pieces clicking together in his mind, uncomfortable pieces that didn't want to fit. I'm saying that about 3 months after you left, I had a breakdown. Complete collapse. My mother had me admitted to a private facility. I was there for 2 months. Now she did turn, her eyes wide. What? I couldn't function. Couldn't work, couldn't sleep. They said it was exhaustion and stress, but... He met her gaze. But I have gaps in my memory from around that time. The doctors said it was normal that trauma could cause that. They gave me therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, they called it, to help me move forward. Understanding dawned on her face, followed by horror. Jihoon, what kind of therapy? Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, ready to ignore it, but the name on the screen made him pause. Dr. Han, his father's former assistant, someone he hadn't spoken to in years. I need to take this, he said, answering. Dr. Han? Mr. Kong. The elderly man's voice was shaky. I heard Miss Okonkwo was back in Seoul. I thought you should know, there are things about that time you don't remember. Things you deserve to know. Ijeoma watched him, her face pale. What things? Jihoon asked. Not over the phone. Can you meet me? Tomorrow, early. There's someone else you should talk to, Dr. Yoon. She was one of the physicians who treated you. A pause. She left the country shortly after. But she's back now, and she's willing to talk. Jihoon's hand tightened on the phone. Why now? Why after all these years? Because your mother just announced her retirement, didn't she? She has no power over us anymore. Dr. Han's voice hardened. Some of us have been carrying guilt for a long time, Mr. Kong. It's time for the truth. The call ended. Jihoon stood frozen, his mind racing. What was that? Ijeoma asked. He looked at her, really looked at her, seeing the woman who'd loved him, who'd carried his child alone for 9 years, who'd been driven away by forces he was only beginning to understand. I think my mother did something. Something beyond just threatening you. What could be worse than memory suppression? The words felt surreal even as he said them. It's experimental, controversial, but it exists. Therapy combined with medication to help patients forget traumatic events. He moved to his desk, pulling up his medical records on his computer. I was on several medications after the breakdown. Antipsychotics, sedatives, and, God, there's one here I don't recognize. Ijeoma came to stand beside him, reading over his shoulder. Propranolol. High doses. You know it. I'm a medical translator now. I work with pharmaceutical companies. Her voice was flat. Propranolol can be used off-label for memory reconsolidation therapy. Basically, you recall a traumatic memory while on the drug, and it can rewrite it, make it less intense. Or sometimes, she trailed off. Or make you forget it entirely, Jihoon finished. He felt sick. She made me forget you. Not just lose you, actually forget the real memories and replace them with... What? What did I remember instead? That I left you, Ijeoma said softly. That I chose to go. They stood in silence, the enormity of it settling over them. His mother hadn't just separated them. She'd rewritten reality itself. Kairo, Jihoon said suddenly. That's why you kept him from me. You thought I'd rejected both of you. I thought you'd paid me to disappear. Her voice cracked. I was pregnant, Jihoon. 6 weeks along when I left. And I thought you knew. I thought you didn't care. The pain in her voice broke something in him. I would have cared. God, Ijeoma, I would have moved heaven and earth. You have to believe that. I don't know what to believe anymore. She wrapped her arms around herself. All these years, I've been so angry. I built a whole life on that anger, on the certainty that you betrayed me. And now you're telling me it was a lie? All of it. I'm telling you, I don't remember hurting you. I don't remember pushing you away. He reached for her hand, and this time she let him take it. I remember loving you. I remember thinking I'd found the person I wanted to spend my life with. And then I remember nothing. Just waking up one day and being told you'd left, that you wanted a fresh start, and that I needed to let you go. She squeezed his hand, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. I hate this. I hate that she did this to us. We'll fix it, he said fiercely. We'll get the truth. All of it. And then we'll decide what comes next. Together. What about Kairo? He's asked about his father before, and I always told him. I told him his father didn't know about him. That it was my choice to raise him alone. She looked at Jihoon. What do I tell him now? The truth. When we have it all. Jihoon pulled her closer. But, Ijeoma, I need you to know, whatever happens, whatever we discover, I want to know my son. I want to be in his life. If you'll let me. She studied his face for a long moment, and he saw the walls she'd built around herself starting to crack. He has your eyes. Did you notice? I noticed. He smiled, though it was tinged with sadness. What's he like? Smart. Too smart sometimes. He loves math and music and asks a million questions about everything. Her expression softened. He's stubborn. Gets that from both of us, I think. Does he know about Korea? I've told him stories. About Seoul, about the food, the culture. Never about you specifically, but... She paused. But I think I was telling him about you anyway. Pieces of you in every story. They stood there, hands intertwined, the ghost of their past hovering between them and the uncertain future stretching ahead. Outside the window, Seoul glittered and sprawled, indifferent to their small human drama. I should get back to him, Ijeoma said finally. He'll be worried. Let me come with you. Let me meet him properly. She hesitated, then nodded. Okay. But Jihoon, don't tell him yet. Not until we know everything. I won't build his hope on something that might fall apart. It won't fall apart, he said firmly. Not this time. I promise you that. As they walked back through the sky bridge, Jihoon realized that the past 10 years had been built on a foundation of lies and manipulated memories. But ahead of them lay something real, a son he didn't know, a love he'd never actually lost, and a truth that was finally beginning to emerge from the darkness where it had been buried. When they reached the gala, Kairo was sitting with Minji, drawing on a napkin with a borrowed pen. He looked up when they approached, and his eyes, Jihoon's eyes, studied them both with an intelligence that was startling in someone so young. Mom, Kairo said. Is everything okay? Ijeoma knelt beside him, smoothing his hair. Everything's fine, baby. This is an old friend of mine, Mr. Kong. Jihoon, he corrected gently, crouching down to the boy's level. It's nice to meet you, Kairo. The boy regarded him solemnly. That's a Korean name, right? Kairo. Actually, Ijeoma said, surprise in her voice. It means victory. First victory. Kairo smiled. Mom told me, but she also said it sounds like Kairo, the city. So I get two meanings. Jihoon felt his throat tighten. That's very clever. I'm good at languages. Mom says I get that from... Kairo trailed off, glancing at his mother. From me? Ijeoma said quickly. We should go. It's late. As they left, Jihoon watched them go, his son's hand in his mother's, both of them disappearing into the Seoul night. Tomorrow, he would meet with Dr. Han and Dr. Yoon. Tomorrow, he would begin unraveling the web his mother had spun. But tonight, he had something he hadn't had in 10 years.
Hope.
And as Ijeoma looked back once before stepping into the car, their eyes meeting across the distance one more time, he saw that maybe, just maybe, she had it too. If you're hooked and want to know what Jihoon discovers about his stolen memories and whether he and Ijeoma can rebuild what was taken from them, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Drop a comment below telling us, would you forgive someone who'd been manipulated into forgetting you? The truth is coming, and it's going to change everything.